As people across the globe are navigating life during the current pandemic, those with substance use disorders are particularly vulnerable. And here to discuss awareness and recovery are Dr. Adam Rubenstein and recovering mom, Ashlyn. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have you both here. Dr. Rubenstein, I want to start with you. Can you explain OUD and how the pandemic is affecting those suffering with it?
Absolutely. Opioid use disorder is a brain disease. It's a chronic disease for which we have treatment. What happens is when certain people, for different reasons, become in a cycle of addiction, the opioids hijack their brain. And at first, they want to keep feeling good and use those opioids, but then over time, they're using them just to avoid withdrawal. These folks actually have impacts on their lives in every way, from their family, friends, and community, jobs, and they're isolated. There's a lot of stigma. COVID-19 only makes that worse. We're all feeling isolated already, and the stresses we have are numerous. But people who are struggling with this are more likely to overdose, more likely to relapse, and have a harder time. So I'd like to say let's not judge them, and let's help them get to treatment, and Ashlyn can talk about that.
And I'm wondering, what role does stigma play in getting help?
Well, stigma is a huge barrier. There are multiple barriers to help, but stigma is probably one of the biggest one. There are a lot of messages that are really filled with misinformation and bias out in society, and that's why Ashlyn and I are here. We're here to actually help people understand that there's accurate information. One place to go. There's many places that are actually valid on the internet to go to that are government agencies and universities, but one that I like, one of them is rethinkopioidaddiction.com. At rethinkopioidaddiction.com, you can get information everywhere from screening to see if your loved one really has a problem, up to learning about what this really is as a disease, and then finding treatment since there's treatment locators on there.
Ashlyn, you are in recovery now. First, I want to just ask you how you're doing.
Well, I'm doing really well. I am. I'm really happy. Things have been a little different with COVID, but other than that, I mean, everything's amazing.
And what was your experience with OUD like?
So my journey with addiction honestly started with mental illness in my teenage years, and then finally peaked in my college years, where I started to be in and out of mental institutions. Then it became rehab, went through the stages of being the functioning addict, the thief, the manipulator, the prostitute, the person that relapses, the person that overdoses, you name it, I went through it, until I found the treatment that really worked for me. Now I've been clean for 2 years after speaking with a healthcare professional, using medication-assisted treatment, support groups, counseling. Now I have a life beyond my wildest dreams, and I am a happy mother.
And what would you like others to know about OUD?
So the most important message that I want to convey is that it's never too early or too late to seek treatment and be in recovery. Please speak with a doctor, a friend, a family member, just somebody that you trust, or you can also go to rethinkopioidaddiction.com. Just take the first step and you won't regret it.
Ashlyn, congratulations on your continued recovery. And Dr. Rubenstein, thank you so much for speaking with us today, both of you. We'll be right back with more Midday Maryland right after this. Stay tuned.